Shalom, this is Yah is Magnified, and I'm back with another informative video. Today's video is titled Order versus Judgment. What's the difference? But before I tackle this subject, as always, I must state for the record, I'm not a lawyer, I do not practice law, and I do not pretend to. All my videos are for informational and educational purposes only. They are all facts and all truth. Nothing more, nothing less. So with that being said, guys, I would like for you all to hit that like button. And also, if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. And also hit that notification bell so you all can be notified as I'm dropping these powerful videos. So without further ado, guys, let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to find out what's the difference between an order and a judgment. And we're going to find out is child support orders are in fact judgments. Okay, so without further ado, guys, let's pick this up at the top where it states order, and it reads a mandate, precept, command, or direction authoritatively given, rule or regulation, direction of a court or judge made or entered in writing, and not included in a judgment. So because they see this part right here, guys, not included in a judgment, they believe that a judgment and an order are two separate things, okay? They believe that an order is not a judgment and a judgment is not an order, but we're going to see if that's the case. Let's continue on. Then it states, which determines some point or directs some steps in the proceeding. Then it states, an application for an order is a motion, okay? But let's continue on. Let's go to commercial law because everything is dealing in what? Contracts. But let's continue reading. And it reads, in commercial law, a designation of the person to whom a bill of exchange or negotiable promissory note is to be paid. An order is a direction to what, guys? To pay, and must be more than an authorization or request. So again, an order is the direction to pay. So when you receive a child support order in the court, does they not direct you to pay? Yes, it does. But let's continue. It states it must identify the person to pay with the reasonable certainty. That's exactly what the order does. Then it states it may be addressed to one or more such persons jointly or in the alternative, but not in succession. And it quotes what, guys? UCC subsection 3-1021B. Then it states, with respect to documents of title, is a direction to deliver goods to a specified person or to his or her order. Okay? But let's continue on. Let's go to the highlight area. It says, see also appealable order, right? Then it says back order, decision, decree, executive order, intermediate order, judgment. Okay, so under the term order, you see highlighted in red judgment. Okay, underneath the definition for order, you still see highlighted in red judgment, and it's for a reason. But let's continue. Limited order, payable to order, percentage order, and restraining order. Okay, but now let's go to the next page. Let's continue reading about the orders. Let's continue there. All right, so now as you all can see on the screen, we are now dealing with the term final order, which is also an order. As I was telling you guys, there are multiple forms of orders. Just like it say final order highlighted in yellow, but right above that it says what? Discretionary order, and right below that it says general orders. So there are different types of orders, guys. So the definition for order that I was reading was simply an overall statement of what an order is, which is simply a what, guys? Directions of a court or judge made or entered in writing. That's all an order is. It's the directions from the court made or entered in writing. That's it. All right. But now let's read what a final order is. A final order is what? One which either terminates the action itself or finally decides some matter litigated by the parties and operates to divest some right, or one which completely disposes of the subject matter and the rights of the party. See also final decision rule. Okay, so we're going to go over final decision rule, but not right now, because when we get off of this definition, we're going to go to the definition for judgment. But again, guys, the final order is just simply what? Highlighted in red. One which completely disposes of the subject matter and the rights of the party. So a final order, once you get a final order in a child support case, that final order disposes of the subject matter at hand. And because it disposes of the subject matter at hand, then that means what? Everything was litigated at that time, so it's no need to proceed forward. It's nothing else the courts can do. The order is in place and it's final. All right, so the only thing you can do to a final order is do what, guys? Appeal it. Okay, but that's gonna be my next video. All right, the next video is gonna be even more powerful than this, guys, because we're going deeper, okay? So now let's go to the term judgment. Since we know what an order is, now we know what a final order is, okay? So we know there are different forms of orders. But now let's go to judgment. Let's see exactly what a judgment is. Let's go there. All right, let's pick this up at the very top where it states judgment highlighted in yellow, and it reads, a sense of knowledge sufficient to comprehend nature of transactions. So for those who don't understand what this sentence states, it's simply dealing with what, guys? The conscience. And to further prove that, let's continue reading. An opinion or estimate. That's strange, but let's continue on. And it reads, last sentence, the formation of an opinion or notion concerning something by exercising the mind upon it. By exercising what, guys? The mind upon it. So why do they want to exercise the mind? Because if they get the mind to believe that the opinion and the judgment is correct, then what? The body will follow. That's why they exercise the mind. Remember, I did a video titled In Personam. If you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it. Okay? It's plenty of gems, man, but let's continue on. Then it reads, the official and authentic decision of a court of justice upon the respective rights and claims of the parties to an action or suit therein litigated and submitted to its determination. So again, we know that child support is a fact of suit, right? A suit litigated against who? Litigated against the alleged non-custodial parent, right? And after they litigate the suit against the alleged non-custodial parent, then it's submitted for what? A determination. And after the determination is submitted, it presents a thing called the what? The final decision, highlighted in red, right? Just like we read for a final order. A final order is what? A final decision, okay? We know that an order itself is just simply what? The court giving instructions and want you all to follow it, right? But a final order is in fact the final decision that what? Resolves all the disputes, meaning that there's nothing else to litigate. All right? So the court then loses what? Subject matter, because the final order is now in place. So in order to continue the argument, you will either have to file a written objection, or you will have to do what, guys? Appeal to a higher court that what? Retains the jurisdiction, such as subject matter. But let's continue on. Then it states again, read it, highlighted in red, the final decision of the court resolving the dispute and determining the rights and obligations of the parties. So again, we know that child support is considered to be a what? An obligation and or what? Legal duty. Right? Right, cool. So let's continue on. Then it states the law's last words in a judicial controversy. So again, I did a video pertaining to controversy. If you haven't watched that video, I will put a link in the description box. So after this video go off, simply click on the link in the description box to view the video pertaining to judicial controversy. But let's continue. It being the final determination by a court. So again, a judgment is simply a final determination by a court. Same thing as a final order. It's a final determination by a court. They're no different. A final order and a judgment are the exact same thing. And I'm going to prove that as well. Straight out, plain and simple, clear as day. But let's continue on. Again, highlighted in red, very top. Final determination by a court of the rights of the parties upon matters submitted to it in an action or proceeding. Then it states conclusions of law upon what? Facts found or omitted by the parties. So again, guys, what I tell you all, when we dealing with child support, we don't partake in the controversy at all, okay? We just state the facts and we're done. That's it. That's all, guys, okay? Why? Because that's where the conclusions of the law come from. It's found on the facts. That's it, okay? There's no need to argue the facts. The facts are going to be the facts no matter what. So let's continue on. Again, conclusions of law upon facts found or omitted by the parties or upon their default in the course of the suit. So again, they hoping that you guys default because it makes the judge's job easier just to draft a final order up against you, known as a what? A default order of support. But let's continue on. Is a judgment is also a decision. That's why I highlighted the word decision multiple times throughout the definition. It is what? A decision or sentence of the law given by a court of justice or other competent tribunals as the result of the proceedings instituted therein. Then it states decision or sentence of the law pronounced by the court and entered upon its dockets, minutes, or records. Determination of a court of competent jurisdiction upon matters submitted to it. So again, in order for the court to make a determination, the court must have competent jurisdiction to do so. Let's continue on though. Then it states determination, or sentence of the law pronounced by a competent judge or court as the result of an action or proceeding instituted in such court, affirming that upon the matters submitted for its decision, a legal duty or liability does or does not exist. So again, guys, that's the whole thing for a child support lawsuit. They want to place the obligation and or legal duty, right? They want to see if that liability exists or not. Okay? And they will determine that by what? What you say and do once you enter into these courts. But let's continue on. Then it states what? Term judgment. So let's take it to federal now. For all you guys that want to use the federal court as a court of appeals. We're going to eat that alive in the next video, guys. Okay? But let's continue on. It states what? Term judgment under rules practice includes decree, right? Federal Rules Civil Procedures 54A. Terms, decision, and judgments are commonly used interchangeable. Did I just say that, guys? A decision and judgment are the same thing. Let's continue on. Sentence and judgment are synonymous in criminal actions, and appeal from sentence is the same as appeal from judgment. And it's just that simple, guys. But let's stroll up. Let's see if the judgment is in fact the order. Let's continue to dig in. Okay, let's put this thing to bed. It states, the term judgment is also used to denote the reason which the court gives for its decision, but this is more properly denominated an opinion. Then it states, an award may be the nature of or equivalent of a judgment. Then it says what, guys? Excuse me. And it says what? Also, an order may be a what? Judgment. It's just that simple, guys. But let's highlight it again. Also, it states a judgment may be an order. Okay, as you all can see. So, an order may be a judgment because it all depends if it's a final order or not. Okay, there are different forms of orders, but a final order is in fact a judgment. They are no different. Okay, to further prove that, let's continue on. Let's pick this up very top, highlighted in yellow, final decision or judgment. And it reads, one which leaves nothing open to further dispute and which sets at rest cause of actions between parties. It's just that simple, guys. Once a final decision or judgment is entered in, then it means that everything is disposed of. All the arguments and everything has been litigated. There's nothing else to go over. But let's continue on. It states, one which settles rights of parties respecting the subject matter of the suit and which concludes them until it is what? Reversed or set aside. Also a decision from which no appeal or writ of error can be taken. Judgment is considered final and thus appealable only if it determines the rights of the parties and disposes of all of the issues involved so that no further action by the court will be necessary in order to settle and determine the entire controversy. So again, guys, that's what a final decision is. So once you get a final decision or judgment and it's not in your favor, then you have a right to what? To appeal it. Okay? But that's for the next video, guys. The next video is going to be powerful too. But let's continue on. It states what? Final decision again. And it reads, which may be appealed to what? Court of Appeals under 28 U.S.C.A. subsection 1291. Okay? So again, guys, my next video, I'm going to be going in on all of these people who wants to do what? Who are telling you guys that you can sue in federal court. I'm going to put this thing to bed even more. But let's continue. It states again, final decisions, one which may be appealed to courts of appeals under 28 U.S.C.A. subsection 1291. Is one that ends litigations on merits and leaves nothing for the courts to do but what? Execute judgment, right? Then it states in criminal, let's go to the next page, cases is imposition of sentence. See also final decision rule, final disposition, interlocutory appeals act, judgment, final judgment, res judicata. Now let's pick it up at final disposition. Let's find out what a final disposition is. Highlighted in yellow, very top, and it reads, such a conclusive determination of the subject matter that after the award, judgment, or decision is made, nothing further remains to fix the rights and obligations of the parties. So again, once a final order is entered into a child support case, it's considered to be a final judgment or a final disposition. Once that's entered into the case, then guess what? That removes the controversy, and guess what? It satisfies the obligation and who's obligated to pay these alleged obligations. But let's continue on. To further prove that, it reads, no further controversy or litigation can arise thereon. Why? Because the order is final. They already litigated everything. It's done and over with. But let's continue on. It is such an award that the party against whom it is made can perform or pay it without any further assertion of rights or duties. You see that, guys? But let's continue on. See final decision or judgment. So now let's go to final judgment. Let's see what the final judgment is. Very top, it says what? Again, like before, see final decision or judgment, which we just read, final decision or judgment. Then it states judgment. But now let's read final order. Final order is what? One which terminates the litigations between the parties and the merits of the case and leaves nothing to be done but to enforce by execution what has been determined. See also the final decision or judgment. So that's what a final order is. It's no different than a final judgment. A final order simply dissolves and terminates the matter before the court. Why? Because everything has been done. There is no longer any controversy before the court because the court made a ruling. After the court makes the ruling, dissolves the issues at hand, that court then loses subject matter jurisdiction to do anything else. And it's just that simple, guys. Okay? To further prove that, now let's go to the family law book. Let's go there. We're coming from the family law book, and it reads what? Final appealable judgment, right? Right. It reads what? See final judgment under judgment, okay? Same thing with final appealable order. Says the same thing. See final judgment under judgment. Then it say final decision. See final judgment under judgment. All three topics that we went over, guys. And all I'm saying, see final judgment under judgment. So now let's go to final judgment. Final judgment, like it states, it says see judgment. So now let's go to judgment. As you all can see, we're still coming out of the family law book, and it reads what? Judgment. And it states what? A court's final determination of the rights and obligations of the party in the case. Basically what we've been reading all this time. But let's continue on. The term judgment includes what? A decree and any order from which an appeal lies. So again, guys, a judgment is any order from which an appeal lies. So if you have a final order does what, guys? It disposes all of the controversy before the court, meaning there's nothing else to litigate. And once there's nothing else to litigate, the court makes its order. That court, after it makes its order, it loses subject matter jurisdiction until someone else petitions the court to do what? To modify it. Okay? But the proper course after the family course or the trial course loses jurisdiction, then you will appeal to what? The Court of Appeals. Okay? It's just that simple, guys. But now, let's go to the federal statutes and codes for all of those who love to use the federal codes, and for those who believe that the federal codes will help them get out of child support. You know, it's just ridiculous, guys. You all been lied to. There is no federal code that will help you get out of child support. Why? Because they're all in agreement with one another. Okay? A house divided will not stand. Okay? Demons cannot cast out demons. They all stand together. They are considered to be legions. Same thing with the federal and state governments. They stand together. Okay? They are in cohesive organization. That's it. That's all, guys. To further prove that, let's go to the federal statute. Okay, so this is for all those who believe that you want to take your complaint or your lawsuit to federal court, okay? But like I stated before, we're going to go deeper in on that as well. But now let's pick this up at the very top. This has come from federal code, right? Source 42 USC 653P. All right, you all can simply Google this. And it states what? Support order. So now let's see what the federal government says a support order is. It states, as used in this part, the term support order means what? A judgment. Plain and simple, simple and plain. An order and a judgment are the same, okay? They are different forms of orders, okay? But a final order and a judgment is the same. Let's continue on. It states, mean a judgment, decree, or order, whether temporary, final, or subject to modification, issued by a court or an administrative agency of competent jurisdiction for the support and maintenance of a child, including a child who has attained the age of majority under the laws of the issuing state or of the parent with whom the child is living, which provides for monetary support, health care arrearages or reimbursement, and which may include related costs and fees, interest and penalties, income withholding, attorney fees, and other relief. So again, guys, there you have it. Okay, out of the mouth of 5 or 6 witnesses this time. Okay, so again, guys, if anyone telling you all that an order and a judgment are not the same, then run immediately, guys. Like I tell you all, there's a lot of people trying to tell you all how to fight child support, but they never won a case on their own, and they never helped anyone else win a case. So please be wary of who you guys are dealing with, okay? If they can't show proof of a victory in federal court, then why believe them? Okay? If they haven't won their own case in federal court, then how can it help you win your case in federal court? It just doesn't make sense, guys. So again, let's continue to apply pressure. All glory and honor to the Most High Yah. That's all I'm going to do for today. If you all need my help, hit me up in my email at yahismagnified@gmail.com. Let's get this right wisdom, this right knowledge, and this right understanding. With that being said, guys, I say shalom.